Have you ever paused to reflect on how often subtle forces guide your actions, steering you down paths you didn't consciously choose? Perhaps you found yourself agreeing to things you didn't want or walking away from conversations shrouded in doubt, questioning the clarity of your thoughts. These moments aren't mere coincidences. They may be signs of manipulation, operating like invisible threads pulling you away from your true intentions. In today's hyper-connected world, every interaction carries potential weight. Conversations shape our relationships, opinions, and even our sense of self. While many of these exchanges nurture growth and understanding, some conceal darker motives, weaving subtle tactics designed to sway and control. Here, within the hidden currents of human interaction, manipulation takes root, an artful, deliberate influence that often escapes immediate detection. Why does this matter? Because understanding manipulation isn't just a defense. It's an act of reclaiming autonomy. In an era of constant noise, from media, social networks, or interpersonal dynamics, the ability to discern genuine intention from covert influence becomes a vital skill. Without this clarity, we risk losing ourselves, entangled in a web of decisions and beliefs that aren't our own. This discussion isn't just an exploration of deceptive tactics, it's a guide to fortifying your mind. Together, we'll journey through 10 Stoic-inspired lessons designed to illuminate the pathways manipulators use and arm you with tools to resist them. From the insidious art of emotional manipulation to the overwhelming chaos of information overload, these lessons go beyond mere self-protection. They form the foundation for personal freedom, self-awareness, and living in alignment with your highest values. So, let us step into this labyrinth of understanding, not with fear, but with the wisdom of Stoicism as our compass. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. 1. Emotional manipulation, the subtle game of control. Emotional manipulation is an artful yet insidious game where your emotions become the chess pieces and your mind the board. Imagine yourself in a grand hall of mirrors, where each reflection captures a different feeling: joy, fear, guilt, or hope. Yet, behind each mirror lies a hand carefully adjusting the angle, directing how you see yourself and the world. This is the power of emotional manipulation. It's subtle, deliberate, and often cloaked in the guise of care or concern. Manipulators operate in the shadows, planting seeds of doubt or tugging at emotional strings so delicately that their intentions often go unnoticed. Their tactics are rarely overt. Instead, they rely on calculated moves to disarm and influence. Consider the friend who sighs deeply after being denied a favor and remarks, "I thought you cared about me," or the colleague who hints at dire consequences should you not follow their advice, cloaking their threats as wisdom. These are not mere words but tools that undermine your confidence and force compliance. To defend yourself, the first step is cultivating emotional self-awareness. Like a Stoic philosopher observing the ebb and flow of their thoughts, you must learn to identify your feelings without judgment, whether they stem from joy, anger, or sadness. Understanding the origins of your emotions allows you to discern when someone is playing upon them. Self-awareness transforms you from a passive participant into a deliberate observer, capable of seeing through the manipulator's smoke and mirrors. Next, establish boundaries. The strength of a Stoic lies not in building walls but crafting doors, barriers you control, deciding when and for whom they open. Saying no with clarity and conviction is not selfish but an assertion of your autonomy. Accepting that you cannot please everyone liberates you from the guilt manipulators attempt to impose. Finally, pursue balance in your relationships. A healthy connection resembles a harmonious duet where both voices are heard and no one is forced to sing a tune that isn't theirs. It may be time to reevaluate the dynamic if you feel like you're dancing to someone else's rhythm, always giving, never receiving. Confrontation can be daunting, but even a simple statement such as, "I feel uncomfortable when," can shift the power balance and illuminate their intentions. Emotional manipulation is a cunning adversary, but loses its grip when faced with awareness, boundaries, and courage. In the chessboard of life, remember that you are the king or queen of your domain, not a pawn to be moved at someone else's whim. Protecting your emotions is not just an act of self-preservation. It's a declaration of your sovereignty. 2. Logical fallacies, the illusions that cloud judgment. In the world of argumentation, logical fallacies are the mirages of reason, appearing solid and convincing from a distance, only to dissolve into confusion and misdirection upon closer examination. They are subtle traps, often hidden in seemingly rational arguments, designed to mislead or manipulate. To navigate these deceptions, one must first understand their nature and how they are wielded to obscure the truth. Imagine a debate where your opponent criticizes your character instead of addressing your point, claiming your argument lacks merit because of your background or past choices. This tactic, ad hominem, is a classic fallacy where the person is attacked rather than the argument. It's as if someone were to smear dirt on a clear window and then claim the view beyond is flawed. Such attacks aim to distract and disarm, shifting focus from substance to superficiality. Another common fallacy is the hasty generalization, where a limited experience is stretched into a sweeping claim. It's akin to seeing a single leaf fall in autumn and declaring that all trees everywhere are now bare. This reasoning plays on our tendency to jump to conclusions, fostering stereotypes and biases that distort reality. Similarly, the slippery slope fallacy stirs fear by exaggerating outcomes, suggesting that a tiny step inevitably leads to catastrophic results. It's like being warned that tasting a single piece of candy will undoubtedly lead to a lifetime of poor health. This argument thrives on emotional exaggeration rather than factual grounding. To guard against these fallacies, one must cultivate a Stoic sense of clarity and reason. Begin by questioning the foundation of every argument. Does it rest on evidence, or is it built on assumptions? This practice, like a philosopher examining the validity of a premise, strengthens your ability to discern truth from manipulation. Developing critical thinking is essential, a disciplined inquiry that peels away emotional bias and seeks logic in its purest form. When confronted with a fallacy, calmly redirect the conversation to the core issue. For example, when facing personal attacks, you might say, "Let's focus on the argument itself rather than my character." This approach dismantles the manipulative tactic and reaffirms your commitment to reasoned dialogue. Similarly, when presented with sweeping generalizations or exaggerated fears, challenge the basis of such claims by asking for specific evidence. Logical fallacies thrive in confusion, but clarity is their greatest adversary. Educating yourself about these deceptive tactics, questioning their validity, and steering conversations toward constructive reasoning empowers you to rise above manipulation. In the pursuit of truth, remember that the Stoic way is not to avoid challenges, but to meet them with unwavering logic and self-assuredness. With every fallacy unmasked, you reclaim your intellectual sovereignty, reinforcing your ability to think clearly and live authentically. 3. Gaslighting, the subtle erosion of reality. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation, a psychological game designed to make you question the very fabric of your reality. It operates like a slow, silent tide, eroding your confidence, distorting your perceptions, and replacing certainty with doubt. This tactic doesn't merely influence. It rewrites the story of your experience, leaving you adrift in a sea of confusion. Imagine someone subtly rearranging the details of your life, like a caretaker quietly shifting the furniture in your home while insisting nothing has changed. Over time, you might begin to wonder if you imagined the original layout, even though you once knew it intimately. Gaslighters prey on this dissonance, exploiting the gap between what you know to be accurate and the narrative they impose. Their arsenal includes denial of events, distortion of facts, and trivialization of your feelings, all intended to destabilize your trust in your mind. For instance, you might recall a conversation where an agreement was reached, only to have the other person insist it never occurred. Or perhaps you voice a concern, only to be told you're overreacting or imagining things. These seemingly small and isolated moments compound over time, creating a mental fog that blurs the line between reality and illusion. To defend yourself against gaslighting, the first and most critical step is to anchor yourself in self-awareness. Like a Stoic philosopher standing firm in the face of external chaos, you must cultivate a deep understanding of your perceptions and emotions. Record key events and conversations through journaling or notes to ground yourself in factual evidence when doubt creeps in. These records serve as a lighthouse, guiding you back to clarity when gaslighting attempts obscure your path. Equally important is the practice of self-affirmation. Reclaim your narrative by reminding yourself that your feelings and experiences are valid. Trust your intuition. If something feels wrong, it likely is. Seeking support from trusted friends or family members can also provide a fresh perspective, often illuminating the manipulative tactics for what they indeed are. Like consulting a wise mentor, their external insight can validate your reality when you struggle to see it. Finally, confront the gaslighter with calm and resolve. A simple yet assertive statement such as, "This is how I remember it, and I stand by that," can be enough to disrupt their control. While not every confrontation will yield immediate change, it reinforces your autonomy and signals that you won't be easily swayed. Gaslighting thrives in silence and self-doubt, but with awareness, validation, and support, you can break free from its grasp. As Stoicism teaches, the power to interpret and own your reality lies within you. By refusing to let anyone rewrite your story, you assert your independence and strength in the face of manipulation. Your reality, however, challenged, remains yours to define and protect. 4. Group pressure, the invisible force that shapes choices. Though often subtle, group pressure wields immense influence over our decisions and beliefs. It operates like a current beneath the surface of social interactions, pulling individuals toward conformity in pursuit of acceptance and belonging. This force might seem benign to the untrained eye, a natural part of human connection. But for those who walk the Stoic path, it represents a challenge to autonomy and the pursuit of truth. Picture yourself in a room where everyone agrees on a single action, even if it conflicts with your principles. Their shared enthusiasm and unified voices can make it almost impossible for them to stand up. This type of pressure is an attic pull that urges you to abandon your individuality in favor of collective harmony. It might manifest subtly, like adopting the opinions or behaviors of those around you, or in overt demands for conformity. Either way, it seeks to make the group's will your own, often at the expense of your integrity. The danger lies in its subtlety. Group pressure doesn't always demand outright obedience. Sometimes it simply nudges you, gently but persistently, toward paths that are not your own. It feeds on our innate desire to avoid conflict and gain approval, leading us to compromise our values. Doing so clouds our judgment, making it difficult to discern what we truly believe from what we've merely absorbed. To resist, one must cultivate a Stoic resilience rooted in self-awareness. Begin by anchoring yourself in your core values. Like the foundation of a strong fortress, your principles must remain unshakable, no matter how fierce the storm of group influence becomes. Reflect on what you stand for and why, so you can recognize when external pressures conflict with your inner compass. Equally vital is the practice of setting boundaries. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from others, but learning to navigate social dynamics with discernment. Be selective about the influences you allow into your life, surrounding yourself with individuals who respect your individuality rather than demand conformity. A supportive environment acts as a safe harbor, shielding you from the relentless waves of societal expectations. When faced with direct pressure, employ calm and firm communication to assert your stance. A simple "I appreciate your perspective, but I feel differently" can deflect the demand and reaffirm your autonomy. Remember, genuine respect comes from those who honor your ability to think and act independently. Finally, embrace the courage to walk a solitary path when necessary. The Stoics remind us that it is better to be true to ourselves in solitude than to lose our identity in the crowd. Authenticity requires strength, but also brings the profound reward of living a life aligned with your highest values. For all its power, group pressure can only control those who yield to it. By cultivating self-awareness, maintaining boundaries, and standing firm in your principles, you transform this force into an opportunity for growth. In choosing integrity over approval, you embody the Stoic ideal of living according to reason and virtue, undeterred by the shifting tides of popular opinion. 5. Excessive flattery, the sweet poison of manipulation. Excessive flattery is a cunning and deceptive tool, often masquerading as kindness but hiding a sharp hook beneath its sugary veneer. It operates like a mirror that reflects an idealized version of yourself, flattering, captivating, and impossible to resist. Yet, much like the siren's song, its purpose is not to uplift but to entangle. Understanding this subtle form of manipulation is vital for those seeking self-mastery and alignment with Stoic principles. Consider a scenario where someone showers you with unrelenting praise, painting you as infallible, uniquely talented, or irreplaceable. At first, it feels empowering, even affirming. But over time, as the compliments pile up, you may notice an unspoken expectation creeping into the relationship, a request, a favor, or a subtle shift in power dynamics. Flattery, when excessive, is rarely an end in itself. Instead, it can gain trust, lower defenses, and influence decisions. The manipulator relies on our natural craving for recognition and validation, exploiting these desires to their advantage. Like a fisherman casting a baited line, they offer admiration in exchange for control. If left unchecked, this dynamic can lead to a loss of clarity, where the need to preserve the flattery overshadows critical thinking and self-awareness. The first step to defend against excessive flattery is cultivating a realistic self-perception. Embrace your strengths and acknowledge your flaws without relying on external validation. A Stoic understands that true confidence arises from within, grounded in virtue and reason rather than the fleeting opinions of others. By knowing yourself deeply, you become less susceptible to the manipulative power of unearned praise. Next, examine the context and frequency of the compliments you receive. Genuine admiration is specific, sincere, and proportionate to the situation. In contrast, manipulative flattery is often vague, overly frequent, or tied to ulterior motives. It's like distinguishing between a clear stream and a murky one. The former nourishes, while the latter conceals unseen dangers. Maintain a healthy emotional distance from those who excessively flatter you. Gratitude for a kind word is natural, but allowing it to dictate your actions is not. Politely acknowledge compliments without becoming overly reliant on them, much like carrying an umbrella on a sunny day, not always necessary, but a safeguard against potential storms. Finally, seek insight from trusted individuals in your life. An outside perspective can often discern whether the flattery you receive is genuine or manipulative. Their impartiality acts as a mirror that reflects the reality you might overlook in the haze of admiration. Excessive flattery is a subtle yet potent manipulation tactic, but it loses its power when met with self-awareness, discernment, and inner strength. A Stoic stands firm in their sense of self, undeterred by external flattery or criticism. By valuing authenticity over adulation, you uphold integrity, ensuring that your choices remain your own, free from the influence of those who seek control through empty praise. 6. Isolation tactics, the silent erosion of connection. Isolation is one of the most insidious manipulation tools, a tactic that slowly dismantles your support network and leaves you dependent on the manipulator. It operates like a shadow creeping into your relationships, creating rifts where there was once connection and sowing seeds of doubt about those you trust. Recognizing and resisting this tactic is essential for those committed to the Stoic pursuit of autonomy and clarity. Imagine a manipulator subtly questioning your closest relationships. Are you sure they have your best interests at heart? Or, I feel like they don't understand you the way I do. At first, these comments might seem genuine concern, but they weave a narrative of distrust. Over time, you begin withdrawing from your friends, family, and colleagues, replacing their influence with that of manipulators. It's as though you've been placed on an isolated island, surrounded by waters of doubt and dependency. This tactic doesn't always manifest through overt demands. Sometimes, it takes the form of subtle control, like monopolizing your time or criticizing those who challenge their influence. Brick by brick, they construct walls around you, cutting you off from the external perspectives and emotional support vital for balance and self-awareness. To defend against isolation, you must first recognize its signs. Pay attention to changes in your relationships. Are you spending less time with others because of someone's influence? Do you feel pressured to choose between maintaining a connection with the manipulator and nurturing other bonds? These shifts are red flags that signal an attempt to control your interactions. Next, actively maintain your support network. Like a Stoic guarding their inner fortress, protect your connections with trusted friends and family. Regular communication and shared experiences strengthen these bonds, making it harder for anyone to isolate you. Consider your relationships as a web of support. The more strands you maintain, the harder it becomes for someone to untangle you from them. Establishing boundaries is equally critical. Politely but firmly assert your right to spend time with others and make your own choices. For example, you might say, I value my relationships and need time to nurture them. Boundaries serve as a shield, preventing others from dictating who you can connect with or how you allocate your time. Finally, trust your intuition. If someone's influence feels constricting or their comments cause you to doubt your relationships, listen to that inner voice. It's a natural alarm system alerting you to potential harm. Seek counsel from those you trust, and if necessary, involve a neutral third party, such as a counselor or mentor, to gain clarity and perspective. Isolation is a powerful manipulation tactic, but loses its hold when met with vigilance, strong relationships, and self-assurance. As Stoics, we are called to protect our autonomy and remain steadfast in our values. By recognizing and countering attempts to isolate us, we safeguard our connections and reaffirm our commitment to living an authentic, connected life. In the end, true strength lies not in solitude, but in the harmony of healthy, mutual relationships. 7. Ultimatums, the subtle trap of coercion. Ultimatums are one of the sharpest tools in the manipulator's arsenal, creating a false sense of urgency that corners you into making decisions under pressure. They present a stark, binary choice, often cloaked in the language of reason or care, that strips away your ability to weigh options freely. Recognizing and dismantling this tactic is essential for those who value autonomy and the Stoic commitment to reasoned decision-making. Imagine standing at the edge of a precipice with someone telling you, if you truly cared, you would choose this, or, if you don't do what I'm asking, then this relationship is over. The power of a request lies in its simplicity. Reducing a complex situation to a single, high-stakes decision pressures you to comply out of fear of loss or conflict. Yet, beneath this apparent clarity, a request often reveals a lack of respect for your agency and a desire to impose control. To resist the pull of ultimatums, begin by recognizing them for what they are: a manipulation of your emotional state to force compliance. The first step is to pause and breathe. Manipulators rely on urgency to cloud your judgment, but in most cases, you have more time than they want you to believe. Stepping back from the immediate pressure allows you to assess the situation with clarity and reason, hallmarks of the Stoic mindset. Next, critically evaluate the options being presented. Are they as limited as they seem, or are other paths not being acknowledged? Ultimatums often exaggerate consequences, presenting one choice as catastrophically bad to steer you toward the other. By analyzing the long-term implications of each option, you can find alternatives that align more closely with your values. Assertive communication is another powerful tool. A simple but firm response like, "I need time to think this through," or "I don't appreciate being forced into a decision," can shift the power dynamic, signaling that you won't be rushed or coerced. Such statements reaffirm your autonomy and create space for a more balanced discussion. Finally, reflect on the broader context of the relationship. If ultimatums are a recurring pattern, it may indicate a deeper issue: a lack of mutual respect or an imbalance of power. Healthy personal or professional relationships thrive on collaboration and understanding, not threats and coercion. In such cases, stepping back to evaluate the relationship may be necessary to protect your emotional well-being. Ultimatums are designed to strip you of control, but you can dismantle their power with awareness and a commitment to reasoned decision-making. By pausing, analyzing, and asserting your boundaries, you reclaim your ability to make choices that reflect your true priorities. As the Stoics remind us, our freedom lies not in avoiding external pressures, but in maintaining mastery over our inner responses. In the face of injunctions, this mastery becomes your shield, ensuring that your decisions are guided by wisdom, not fear. 8. Blame shifting, the manipulative dance of responsibility. Blame shifting is a subtle yet powerful manipulation tactic that redirects responsibility and guilt onto others. It acts like a distorted mirror, reflecting your actions and intentions at you in an exaggerated and often false light. For those who seek personal growth and adhere to the Stoic ideal of accountability, understanding this tactic is crucial to maintaining emotional clarity and self-control. Imagine a scenario where someone consistently redirects the consequences of their actions onto you. They might say, "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way," or "You made me feel this way." These statements aren't merely deflections. They are tools to erode your confidence and force you into a cycle of guilt and overcompensation. Over time, this manipulation can cloud your ability to distinguish between what you are genuinely responsible for and what has been unfairly imposed upon you. The key to resisting blame shifting lies in developing a strong self-awareness. Like a Stoic examining their thoughts and actions impartially, you must assess situations objectively. Ask yourself, is this my responsibility? Am I being unfairly burdened with someone else's emotions or outcomes? This reflective questioning allows you to separate fact from manipulation, ensuring your sense of self remains intact. Equally important is asserting your boundaries with calm and clarity. When faced with blame shifting, respond with statements that affirm your perspective without escalating the conflict. For example, you might say, "I understand you're upset, but I don't believe I'm responsible for that outcome." Such responses reaffirm your autonomy while inviting a more balanced dialogue. Practicing self-reflection is another essential defense. Regularly evaluate your actions and decisions to ensure they align with your values and intentions. Holding yourself accountable for your behavior strengthens your ability to distinguish genuine responsibility from false accusations. This practice builds emotional resilience and reinforces your commitment to living authentically. Surrounding yourself with supportive individuals is equally vital. Trusted friends or mentors can provide valuable perspectives, helping you see situations more clearly when manipulation obscures the truth. Their insights remind you that you are not alone in navigating these complex dynamics. Blame shifting thrives on emotional confusion and self-doubt but falters in the face of self-awareness, clear boundaries, and rational reflection. As Stoicism teaches, the power to interpret events and control your inner world lies within you. By rejecting unwarranted guilt and holding firmly to your truths, you protect your emotional well-being and reaffirm your commitment to personal integrity. In doing so, you embody the Stoic principle of living according to reason, not the whims of others. 9. Information overload, the chaos that clouds clarity. Information overload is a modern plague, an unrelenting storm of data and details that can disorient even the most disciplined mind. When used deliberately, it functions as a manipulative tool, overwhelming your capacity to analyze and discern, rendering you susceptible to external influence. Understanding and countering this tactic is essential for those striving to embody Stoic principles and maintain clarity of thought. Imagine being in the eye of a hurricane, with fragments of information swirling around you. Facts, figures, arguments, and opinions, all demanding your immediate attention. The sheer volume of data creates a fog, obscuring what truly matters and leaving you vulnerable to those who wield this chaos as a weapon. By flooding you with excessive, often irrelevant details, manipulators seek to confuse your judgment and subtly guide you toward decisions that serve their interests, not yours. To navigate this storm, the first step is recognition. Acknowledge when you are being inundated with overwhelming or unnecessarily complex information. This awareness is akin to stepping back from a cluttered canvas, allowing you to see the broader picture. Once you recognize the tactic, pause and breathe. This simple act can restore calm and give you the mental space to proceed with clarity. Next, embrace the Stoic practice of simplification. Break down the torrent of data into manageable pieces, focusing only on what is directly relevant to the decision or issue. Imagine dismantling a massive puzzle into smaller sections, each easier to understand and navigate. This process reduces confusion and empowers you to identify the manipulative elements hidden within the deluge. Critical questioning is another vital defense. Ask for clarification, seek the core message, and challenge the necessity of extraneous details. For instance, you might say, "Can you summarize the key points?" Or, "How does this information relate to the issue we're discussing?" These questions act as a beacon, cutting through the noise and guiding you back to the essence of the matter. Equally important is seeking external perspectives. Consult trusted individuals or resources that can provide clarity and context. Like a ship navigating by the stars, these external anchors can help you orient yourself amidst the confusion, offering insights that reaffirm your reasoning. Lastly, trust your intuition. If the volume or complexity of information feels intentionally overwhelming, it likely is. Manipulators thrive on your doubt and hesitation, but Stoics trust their ability to discern what is true and essential. You reclaim control over your decisions and thoughts by remaining steadfast in your pursuit of clarity. Information overload may be a formidable tactic, but it is different for a disciplined mind. With awareness, simplification, and critical questioning, you can navigate even the most turbulent seas of data. As the Stoics remind us, it is not the external storm that defines us, but the calm and clarity we cultivate within. Protect your mind like a sacred fortress, ensuring that your choices are guided by reason and virtue. 10. Topic shifting, the art of misdirection. Topic shifting is a subtle yet potent manipulation tactic to engage meaningful conversations and divert attention from critical issues. It operates much like a magician's sleight of hand. While your focus is drawn to one subject, the fundamental matter of importance is deliberately obscured. For those committed to the Stoic pursuit of honest and rational dialogue, Recognizing and resisting this tactic is essential for maintaining clarity and integrity in communication. Picture a discussion where you raise a valid concern only to find the conversation veering into unrelated territory. Your interlocutor may suddenly shift to trivial matters, introduce unrelated grievances, or redirect the focus onto your actions instead of addressing the issue. These shifts are not accidental but deliberate attempts to evade accountability or obscure the truth. The original concern becomes lost in changing topics, leaving you frustrated and disoriented. The first step in countering topic shifting is awareness. Like a Stoic, observing their thoughts without judgment means paying close attention to the flow of the conversation. Ask yourself, is this shift relevant to the discussion? Or why has the subject changed? Recognizing these sudden changes is crucial for staying grounded and steering the dialogue back to its original course. Once identified, calmly and firmly redirect the conversation. For instance, you might say, "That's an interesting point, but I'd like to return to what we discussed earlier." This approach acknowledges the diversion without undue attention, reinforcing your commitment to the core issue. It's akin to a captain navigating a ship back on course after encountering unexpected currents. Additionally, I question the intent behind the shift. Politely but directly ask, why are we moving away from this topic? Such inquiries often unsettle manipulators, forcing them to confront their avoidance tactics. However, they remain composed and non-confrontational, as emotional escalation can provide them with further opportunities for misdirection. Setting boundaries is also essential. If the conversation continues to stray despite your efforts, it is acceptable to end it. Say something like, "I don't think this discussion is productive anymore. Let's revisit it another time when we can focus on the main issue." This protects your time and energy and signals that you value meaningful dialogue over circular arguments. Topic shifting thrives on distraction and confusion, but a Stoic mind, grounded in reason and self-assurance, can dismantle its power. You reclaim control over the narrative by staying alert, redirecting the conversation, and asserting your boundaries. As the Stoics teach, it is not the actions of others that determine your peace, but your ability to respond with clarity and purpose. In every conversation, let your words and focus reflect the virtues of truth and rationality, ensuring that your voice remains steady amidst the noise of misdirection. Conclusion: manipulation, in all its forms, seeks to erode your autonomy, cloud your judgment, and steer you away from your true path. Yet, with awareness and the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, you can stand firm against these subtle and insidious tactics. Whether it's emotional manipulation, logical fallacies, or topic shifting, the tools you've gained today are more than just defenses. They are a foundation for personal strength and clarity. The Stoics remind us that our power lies in how we perceive and respond to the world, not in controlling external forces. By practicing self-awareness, setting boundaries, and staying rooted in your values, you reclaim your autonomy and make decisions that align with your highest principles. Remember, manipulation thrives on your uncertainty, but your commitment to reason and virtue dismantles its hold. As you progress, please reflect on these lessons and apply them to your daily life. Every conversation, decision, or interaction is an opportunity to practice clarity, maintain balance, and grow in self-mastery. You are not merely a participant in life's events. You are the architect of your destiny, shaping it with each choice you make. If this message has resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you join a community dedicated to growth and wisdom and ensure you don't miss future insights that can further empower your journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What tactics have you encountered, and how have you overcome them? Your reflections can inspire others who, like you, seek to navigate life with strength and clarity. Together, let's continue to build a space for learning and transformation rooted in the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Thank you for being part of this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the following video. Until then, stay true to yourself and the virtues that guide your path.